got a Twitter handle. People are following him. He's rallying the younger generation. Where we know that conservatism has certainly taken a back seat over the years, Catholicism, to the Democrats. What do Republicans need to do as a whole to become more relevant?
Well, first of all, maybe we should run the Pope for president. That might be an idea. Maybe you've just given us the formula. I have great respect for this Pope, and I think he's brought an extraordinary sense of common touch to his position, and it's refreshing. And his willingness to touch the untouchable and to reach out to those who have been shunned, I think is remarkable. And I'm grateful for his life as much as his message. What he says is important, but what he has done, to me, is even more significant. I would take some issue. I find that a lot of Catholics are very open to voting for Republicans. And I think that the religious liberty issue is one that has certainly driven many Catholics to re-examine their own political affiliation. The one thing Republicans need to be clear about is that we too care about poverty, that we are very interested in helping people come out of it. It's just that we don't think giving them a permanent dependency on the government check is really helping people out of poverty. That's not helping them out of poverty. That's keeping them in poverty. It's keeping them locked in to what the government wants them to have. I want every young single mom out there to drive past the best school in the neighborhood and say, I'm going to send my kids to that school, rather than say, I'm sorry kids, you can't go to that school, we can't afford it, and the government won't send you there. They make you go to this school that fails every year. Now that empowers that single mom. It empowers her kids to live a different life. That's what we need to be talking about. And we need to be saying that to get out of poverty, people need to have an opportunity to live the life that they dream of living, not the life that the government has relegated them to. Because many of us, certainly me, my story, is one having grown up, not with all of the trappings, but grown up in poverty. And as I often say, I've got a lot more in common with the people working in the kitchen than the people at the head table. But I believe that this country was a country that gave me the incredible opportunity to get an education, work hard, and to live a life beyond what I ever could have dreamed. I want that for every kid in America, and that's what I think the Republicans have got to do going into the election.
Thanks, guys.
Governor, just a fast question. If you talk to folks here, lots of work in their 20s, college kids, on cultural issues like same-sex marriage, even marijuana, they tend to take a more libertarian outlook on those things. Do you think that's merely a reflection of their age, and that's sort of age-old phenomena, and once they start paying a mortgage and become parents, that they'll become more culturally conservative? Or has
Did that happen to you, Jonathan? I'm just curious. Did you get more conservative as you got older?
No comment. Has there been, so is that just what it has always been, or has there been an actual shift now where that generation, as they enter their 30s and 40s, is actually going to keep those views on issues like marriage or marijuana?
You know, to quote Winston Churchill, who said that if a kid's not a liberal when he's 18, I wonder if he's got a heart. If he's not a conservative at the time he's 40, I wonder if he's got a head. And I think there's a somewhat reality to all of that. We mature, we age, we grow, we think differently. Some people actually become more liberal, which is rare, but I mean, that does happen. But I think most of us have a little more, not so much a conservative view necessarily, but a more realistic view of the world. Our idealism is tempered by the harsh realities that we start to live,
Sure.
whether it's raising kids or paying bills, and it tempers us to think less idealistically than maybe we did when we were 18. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a natural thing. I don't think it's an issue of whether there's any one issue that is the deal killer. Because here's what I think Americans look for, more than they look for some ideological purity. I think they look for authenticity. They want to know, maybe I don't agree with this guy, but does he really believe that himself? And is he consistent with it? And if he's not consistent, then it's not a matter of what he says, it's a matter of anything he says now is called into question. So if I take a position that may not be in sync with the overwhelming popular view of, let's say, an 18-year-old audience, my experience going on college campuses, which I do regularly and speak, is that they respect that I don't back down more than they just expect me to capitulate to whatever it is they're thinking at the time, knowing that when I get in front of an audience of 60-year-olds, I'll take a totally different view.
Thank you.
So I think that's what matters. Thank you very much.